Good day, God's people. Hope you've had a great week. Welcome again to this week's Sunday School lesson. We started lesson 3 last week, the unity of Adam and Eve, and we saw how God created marriage as unity between the man and the woman together with himself. This week, we are looking at division 2, unity after the fall. And as usual, we have two sections, A, unity in downfall, and B, unity in and after the judgment. So let's dive into section A, unity in downfall. In Genesis chapter 2 verse 16 and 17, God had given an instruction to the man not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that he will die if he did so. However, the devil came to the woman in his cunningness and in the image of a serpent and told her, "You shall not surely die." He caused Eve to see God as a liar and doubt him. But remember, Jesus said that the devil is the father of lies and he had always lied from the beginning. He causes us to doubt God and our identity. Eve gave in, having believed the enemy's lies. She later offered her husband the fruit and he ate too. They had jointly done wrong and in unity sinned against God. There is no arguing about who caused who to sin. Both were tempted and both sinned. This brings to mind Ananias and Sapphira, who unitedly agreed to tell a lie to the Holy Spirit. They both received the judgment of death. Of course, Adam and Eve got their judgment too. Sin always has its consequences, and when a couple sins against God in unity, they still face the consequence of their united deed. After they sinned, their nakedness became evident to them. They had lost the covering of God's glory. They no longer saw God. They now saw themselves naked. Sin takes our eyes off God, and when we look at ourselves, we no longer see God's beauty in one another. Instead, we begin to see the imperfections and weaknesses of each other as a couple. Adam and Eve no longer depended on the covering of God's glory. They went ahead on their own to sew fig leaves together to cover themselves. Then, when they heard God, they went into hiding. So, both were tempted. They both ate the fruit. They both began to see their nakedness. They jointly sewed fig leaves for covering and in unity hid away from God. In their downfall, they were united. No matter how united we are, God is not happy when we sin against Him. He expects our unity in every aspect of life except against His purpose. One lesson for couples here is that when one of the two goes into error, the other should stand by his or her spouse and help to restore him or her. When one fails, both fail. You are one body. Face your issues together. Even when you rebuke, do so in love. So B, unity in and after judgment. In Genesis chapter 3 verse 14 to 21, Adam and Eve faced God's judgment together. Even though they individually tried shifting blames, their deed had been done and they collectively received judgment. As we see in Genesis chapter 4 verse 1 and 2, Adam and Eve did not go their separate ways after God's judgment. It was God's purpose that they remained together, and they did, still united as a couple. In spite of His judgment, God still made coverings for them as a couple. Now, they would have to leave the garden together, figure out the future together, multiply together, take care of children together, and in fact, do everything together. How do you handle crisis as a couple? It is easy to begin to shift blames and accuse each other, even when misunderstandings arise. It is better to sort out your differences than to keep a grudge. There are many separated couples living under the same roof. No matter what you both are going through, you can only win together. Face your battles and challenges together. Pray to God concerning them together. And with God in the picture, you are sure to surmount every challenge. Finally, our lessons learned. 1. As long as our minds are able to hold on to God's precious words, the enemy cannot overcome us. When we doubt God, we give Satan a foothold. 2. Love kept Adam and Eve together even through crisis. Unity thrives through love. Love each other. So again, we come to the end of another lesson, lesson 3. Lesson 4 begins next week with the topic Unity at Babel. Till then, keep loving one another and stay united. God bless you.